A lot of churches will say, well, we want to be different from the church down the street and stand out. How much value is there in looking unique, feeling unique from a creative perspective, from what you have experienced in the research you've done? And how much should a church differentiate itself online?
I think it comes down to understanding what are the most important elements of a website that make it unique and make it stand out. As an aside, I think it's important to admit that we all sing the same 4 songs every single weekend, and none of us write our own worship music aside from a few select churches. And so it's not that we pursue originality in everything. You know, there are 100 popular worship songs that pretty much every evangelical church pulls from. And we don't pursue originality there, even though we would consider that as like a core function of our worship service. That's like 50% or 30% of what we do every single weekend. And we're still like, bring on oceans, baby. We know it's anointed. And so I think it's important to just distance ourselves from this like goal of originality. One, because I don't think originality really is something worth chasing when we look at websites and what really matters. So, and I'm not trying to say this from like a hunch or a feeling standpoint. This is what I think the data produces. So for instance, I think that your church website has 3 main goals, and originality is just not one of them. The 3 goals I'd say are, you want your website to make a good first impression. This is the primary goal of your church's website. Forbes reported 97% of people are searching for local organizations online. When your church is being discovered, more often than not, it's happening on your website. It's not happening when someone pulls into your parking lot or steps through the doors of your building and into the auditorium. It's happening online. And so the number 1 goal of every church's website should be to make a good first impression. First impressions online happen, according to Google, in about 0.05 seconds. And what's interesting about these first impressions is that research has shown that what makes a good first impression is 94% design related. And so even though we would all like to say that, look, we're here to judge substance, it was like, no, we all judge books by their covers because we need to make first impressions. We need them to happen, or otherwise we can't sort through all the chaos that's happening around us. That's kind of the science behind first impressions. And according to Google, they did a ton of research on like what kind of websites do users love the most? And Google found that the websites that users found most appealing were those that were simple and familiar. And so I've heard pastors say, like, we just don't love this whole minimal design thing. You know, we don't like that kind of like clean look. And I'm like, look, it's okay that you don't like that, but you got to recognize that that's what the world and your audience likes. So then you have to decide, are you making a website that you, the pastor, you, the senior leadership, are going to like? Or are you making a website that the people you're trying to reach are going to prefer? You should do things that the people you're trying to reach would like, not what you like, because you're trying to reach them. You are not your audience. And so that's another important distinction to make.